Have you ever felt like you were meant for something more? Something bigger than the world, you know? It's a feeling that tugs at your heart, a whisper of a destiny waiting to be discovered. This is a story about that feeling, about a girl with hair as bright as the sun and a spirit that could never be truly contained. This is the story of Rapunzel. In a hidden corner of a magical kingdom, a baby princess was born. But this was no ordinary princess. Her name was Rapunzel, and she was born with long golden hair that held a miraculous power, the power of healing and eternal youth. This incredible gift, however, became her curse. An old, selfish woman named Mother Gothel, obsessed with staying young forever, saw the magic in the child's hair. One dark night, she crept into the royal castle, stole the infant princess, and vanished without a trace. Gothel took Rapunzel to a tall, secluded tower, hidden deep within a forest where no one would ever find them. There were no stairs, no doors, just a single window at the very top. This tower became Rapunzel's entire world. Gothel raised her as her own daughter, convincing the girl that the world outside was a dangerous, cruel place filled with people who would want to harm her and steal her magical hair. Gothel was the only person Rapunzel ever knew, and the tower was the only home she could remember. As Rapunzel grew, so did her hair, cascading down the tower in a shimmering golden waterfall. It was her connection to Gothel, who would stand at the base of the tower and call out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair," so she could climb up. Despite her isolation, Rapunzel's spirit was anything but dim. She was a vibrant, curious, and incredibly creative young woman. She filled her days with painting, covering the tower walls with breathtaking murals of a world she had never seen. She read every book she had over and over, dreaming of the places and people within their pages. She was kind, she was gentle, but most of all, she was a dreamer. And every single year, on her birthday, something magical happened. As night fell, she would look out her window and see the sky filled with thousands of floating lights, like a river of stars climbing into the heavens. She didn't know what they were or where they came from, but they called to her soul. Seeing those floating lanterns became her one and only birthday wish. She yearned to see them up close, to understand the mystery behind their beauty. Her 18th birthday was approaching, and this year, Rapunzel was determined to make her dream a reality. She gathered all her courage and asked Mother Gothel if she could leave the tower, just for one day, to see the floating lights. But Gothel, terrified of losing her source of youth, cruelly refused. She painted a grim picture of the outside world, reinforcing Rapunzel's fears and crushing her hopes. Heartbroken, Rapunzel believed she was doomed to spend her entire life locked away. But fate, as it often does, had other plans. At that very moment, a charming and roguish thief named Flynn Rider was on the run. He had just stolen the lost princess's crown from the royal palace, and was being chased by the palace guards and his former partners in crime. Looking for a place to hide, he stumbled upon a strange, hidden tower with no visible entrance. Thinking it was abandoned, he used arrows to climb the stone wall and pull himself up to the window. Imagine his surprise when, instead of an empty room, he was met with a frying pan to the face, swung by a terrified but determined young woman with an unbelievable amount of hair. This was the first person, other than Gothel, that Rapunzel had ever seen. After a comical and chaotic first encounter, Rapunzel managed to knock him out and hide him in her wardrobe. When he awoke, he found himself tied to a chair with her long golden hair. Rapunzel had discovered the stolen crown in his satchel. She didn't know what it was, but she knew it was important, and she saw her chance. She made Flynn a deal. She would return his satchel with the crown, but only if he acted as her guide and took her to see the floating lanterns. Flynn, desperate to get his loot back, reluctantly agreed. He thought it would be a simple trip, a quick escort for a sheltered girl. He had no idea this deal would change his life forever. With a mix of terror and exhilaration, Rapunzel used her hair to lower herself and Flynn from the tower. The moment her bare feet touched the soft green grass for the first time, a wave of conflicting emotions washed over her. It was everything Gothel had warned her against, yet it was everything she had ever dreamed of. The world was so much bigger, so much more vibrant and alive than she could have ever imagined from her window. Their journey was anything but smooth. They had to escape from furious pub thugs who surprisingly turned out to be dreamers just like Rapunzel. They were chased by the relentless palace horse, Maximus. who had a personal vendetta against Flynn. And all the while, Mother Gothel had discovered Rapunzel was gone and was desperately trying to track her down, teaming up with Flynn's former criminal partners. Through it all, an unlikely bond began to form between the girl who had never lived and the thief who had lived too much. Flynn, whose real name was Eugene, started to see the world through Rapunzel's innocent and joyful eyes. He saw her wonder at the simplest things: a field of flowers, a dance in the town square, the warmth of connecting with other people. Rapunzel, in turn, began to see past Flynn's cocky exterior to the kind and vulnerable man underneath. She taught him to trust, and he taught her to be brave. They shared their deepest secrets and dreams. Rapunzel confessed her feelings of guilt for disobeying Gothel, while Eugene revealed his past as an orphan who created the persona of Flynn Rider to survive. In a quiet moment by a campfire, Rapunzel revealed her hair's healing magic to save Eugene's injured hand. For the first time, someone saw her power not as something to be used but as a part of who she was. Finally, the night of her birthday arrived. Eugene took her out on a boat onto the lake surrounding the kingdom. As dusk settled, the castle gates opened and the king and queen released the first lantern, followed by thousands from the townspeople, all in memory of their lost princess. The sky filled with the very lights Rapunzel had dreamed of her entire life. It was more beautiful, more magical than she had ever imagined. In that perfect moment, surrounded by a sea of floating stars, Rapunzel and Eugene realized they were falling in love. She gave him back his satchel, but he no longer cared about the crown. All he cared about was her. But their happiness was short-lived. Gothel had set a trap. She had made a deal with Flynn's old partners. They captured Flynn and handed him over to the royal guards, making it look like he had abandoned Rapunzel. Heartbroken and alone, a devastated Rapunzel was taken back to the tower by Gothel, who claimed she was right all along. The world was cruel, and Flynn had betrayed her. Back in her room, defeated, Rapunzel noticed something. The sun symbol of the kingdom, which she had seen everywhere on her journey, was the same symbol she had been subconsciously painting on her walls her entire life. In a flash of insight, she knew. She was the lost princess. She confronted Gothel, declaring, "I am the lost princess." The lie was broken. Enraged, Gothel chained Rapunzel, vowing to keep her hidden forever. Meanwhile, Eugene was being led to his execution, but with the help of Maximus and the pub thugs, he escaped and raced back to the tower to save Rapunzel. He managed to get into the tower, but Gothel was waiting. She stabbed him, mortally wounding him. Rapunzel, desperate to save him, promised Gothel she would go with her willingly and never try to escape again, if only she would let her heal Eugene first. Gothel agreed, but Eugene knew that if Rapunzel healed him, she would be enslaved to Gothel forever. Looking into her eyes, he whispered, "I can't let you do this." And with his last bit of strength, he took a shard of glass and cut off her long golden hair. The magic was gone. The hair turned brown and lost its power. Without the magic to sustain her, Gothel aged rapidly, turning to dust and vanishing forever. Rapunzel was free, but Eugene was dying in her arms. Crying, she held him close, and a single tear, still containing a spark of the sun's magic, fell on his cheek. He was healed. Rapunzel, now with short brown hair, was finally brought home to the castle. The king and queen instantly recognized their daughter, and the family was tearfully reunited after 18 long years. The entire kingdom celebrated the return of their lost princess. And Rapunzel and Eugene, now free from their pasts, began a new life together. A life filled with love, adventure, and the freedom they had fought so hard to win. Rapunzel's story teaches us a powerful lesson. It reminds us that sometimes the walls that hold us back aren't made of stone, but of fear and doubt. But you are stronger than your fears. You are braver than you believe. Your life is meant to be so much bigger than any tower you might find yourself in. Don't be afraid to leave it, to chase your own floating lanterns, whatever they may be. Your real life is waiting for you, just on the other side of fear. Thanks for watching. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tales of courage and discovery. Until next time, keep dreaming.